25-yard line, lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
See if they can test Newcastle one more time here with Altidore.
picks it up and drills it into the back of the net.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
See if they can test Newcastle one more time here with Altidore. opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg.
Bellingham, 25 yards, lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
See if they can test Newcastle one more time here with Altidore. Reading.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stadium of Light, where myself and Danny are this evening. It's Sheffield United versus Sunderland. Alongside me is, of course, Danny Collins. Back in action once again, this time joined by some friends here in the sports bar back at the Stadium of Light. But, of course, the lads are down at Bramall Road this evening. Bramall Lane, in fact.
Correct.
Been a long week.
It has, yes. And, third game this week, isn't it? Quick turnaround once again. A disappointing night, if we're honest, in midweek. That the fact that we didn't pick up the 3 points, but a massive opportunity this evening to go out there against the side who'd be fancied to go up this season, who are in good form. But from our point of view, and if I'm one of our players in that changing room tonight, I'm thinking let's go up there and upset them, because they've been excellent at home this season, Sheffield United.
Yeah, they have. We'll get on to them in good time, but let's give you the Sunderland team news then, if we can. And Regis has gone for an unchanged 11 and bench.
He has indeed, yeah, and I think, ourselves, I was possibly thinking of a couple of changes maybe, and I'm sure the fans here as well and down at Bramall Lane would have been as well, but no, he's gone with that. There was chat, obviously, Luke O'Nien playing at full-back the other night, and then maybe Adji coming back in, but, we've got good options at the back at this moment in time. Dan Ballard's come in there alongside Chris Mepham. He's been excellent as well, another clean sheet the other night. But yeah, to the pitch, we've got to get back to scoring goals. It's as simple as that. Three clean sheets and 3 non-registered in the last 5 games, isn't it? So that's where we're coming up short at this moment in time. But listen, we're still in a great position. We're 10 unbeaten, and we can go top if we win tonight.
Let's have a look at the previous game then. It was a frustrating evening on Wayside, 0-0 against West Brom. Sunderland enjoyed a lot of possession over the course of the game, but they just weren't able to find that final moment in the final third.
No, they weren't, and it was a strange one. I mean, obviously, when you looked at West Brom over the last several games, they've had a lot of draws in there. I just fancied them to come up here and to play with a little bit of freedom, really, but they never. They took the sting out of the game. They were slow, pedestrian on the ball at the back, and Josh Madger up top and Grant alongside him had very little to go off. Josh had one chance, which we'll in a minute, but yeah, it was all about us really, and whether we were actually going to get the breakthrough. But unfortunately, we couldn't manage to do so. I think this is that big chance now, is it? Yeah, just see there, he just comes off the centre backs and he's just off the other side of Dan Neil, holds his position well, and whether he just slightly loses his foot and he actually plays it off his right boot onto his left, and it was a big opportunity. So over the course of the game, it felt like we dominated the game as a whole, but they had 2 good opportunities. That one there, and obviously the one at the end of the game, which Dan Ballard almost cleared, which was perhaps just going wide, but it was a good opportunity.
What did you think of West Brom, Danny? Because I was expecting a lot more myself. They seemed quite happy to sit back.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say they're well set up. You can see well drilled. Obviously, Corberan, he's animated on the touchline, as we've seen at we were sat up behind him, and he plays the game on the touchline, doesn't he? But yeah, well drilled. But for me, they need more going forward. It's as simple as that. It's all well and good having the ball at the back, moving it around the centre halves, but it was like they weren't sure whether to go long over the top. They wanted to try and play through us, couldn't manage to do so, and in the end, they ended up turning the ball over more often than not. And you can see here now where we're obviously into the second half, and we're getting ball into their box. Luke's obviously put a couple of good balls in. Tommy's almost getting in. I said that was a possible shout of a penalty there, where the keeper's clattered into Tommy at the far post. But yeah, it was frustrating, wasn't it? And
here's the offside goal.
Is the offside goal now? Yeah, good build-up play. Ball goes into Joe, out to Patrick on that right-hand side. You see just a little overlapping run from Luke there, and that's the strike, isn't it? Yeah, and then Chrissy Rigg just feeds it into him. Luke plays it across, and it's a tight one. Listen, it's a difficult one. I mean, I've seen people drawing lines since the goals happened, freehand, and it's a bit squiggly. But yeah, I think, listen, the linesman's on the top of the picture there. The first shirt he sees is the red and white striped shirt, so it's a difficult one for him. He hasn't got VAR to help him out, and I think you're looking there, and it does look like he's slightly leaning, but people will talk about
people saying that the
Holgate's toenails playing him onside. So yeah, you get them sometimes, sometimes you don't, and obviously it's a big call, because ultimately it's cost us 2 points, hasn't it? So I mean, look at Holgate's reaction, and he's not arguing it. He thinks it's a goal. He's disappointed when he goes down onto the floor there, and that's the opportunity Wilson was waiting for, because he didn't get too many himself on the night.
Decent service from that right-hand side from Luke O'Nien as well. A few people were surprised to see him pulled, substituted,
yeah,
and then
off,
Elise and we had Mayenda came on that left-hand side, didn't we?
No, I could see, obviously, you bringing Adji on, left foot, maybe try and get forward and get a bit of balance down the left-hand side as well, with Mayenda as well. But yeah, Luke didn't do a lot wrong over on that far side. I thought he had a decent game. As you see, he was getting forward as much as he can, but then obviously Trey, it's not to say Trey can't do the same, because he does right here now. Gets there, pulls a lovely ball back to Patrick, and Patrick just doesn't get the connection he's looking for, almost off the side of his foot rather than getting a good firm connection, and it just, say, a yard or so past the far post. So again, time and time again, I thought we were actually getting more joy down our right-hand side, building play up down there. And this one again, another night, I think it's Chris Mepham, isn't it? Nods it back across, and there's Isidore. Another night that drops a yard lower, and he's putting us in front. So it was a night of, ifs and maybes and what could have been, but ultimately we're coming away with the points. We're all disappointed. It's 2 draws so far this week, but if we go and get 3 points tonight against the side who you fancy to go up this season, then 5 points isn't a bad return.
Yeah, and myself with my Sunderland AFC staff badge on, I'm going to say 10 games unbeaten. And if you're having a bit of a sticky spell, if you're not getting beat, it's a good foundation to build on. Yeah, it is, but that's, you say 10 unbeaten, it's 6 draws though, isn't it, and 4 wins. But yeah, listen, the confidence from the boys. We've had 2 defeats so far this season, both away from home. I think it's going to be tough there tonight. People are saying, Sheffield United, I think they've only conceded in 1 game, and that was their first home game of the season back in August, a 2-2 with Queen's Park Rangers. They haven't conceded a goal since at home. So, from their point of view, they're going to be going out at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United players, full of confidence, thinking we're going to turn up and we're going to pick up 3 points. But on the flip side of that, they know that we're having a decent season. Yes, we've dipped a little bit recently in terms of top end of the pitch and not scoring, but they'll know we've got players in the side which can hurt them, and it'll be a bit more of an open game. Not what we've seen on Tuesday night, where West Brom spoiled the game and almost sat deep. I think obviously the onus is on them to come out tonight to go back top of the table themselves, and I think we will get opportunities on the counter-attack. So you think it's going to be one of those end-to-end games then we're going to see this evening? Yeah, I hope so. People want to see that. Friday night game, it's on telly as well, isn't it? And you want to see a good open game of football. 2 big sides at this level. And from our point of view, as I say there, we want to get back to the top of the table. We were there for 5-6 weeks. We just dropped off it a little bit. We're down to 4th at this moment in time, but we're in a good position still. And it would really send a message to the rest of the division, wouldn't it, if Sunderland were to go to Bramall Lane tonight and get that win, returning themselves to the top of the pile, serious contenders once again. Well, exactly, and a massive confidence booster again for the players. We keep talking about it. We've got a young squad. I think we can see, we play when we're at it, we play with freedom. First half against Coventry a couple of weeks ago, I thought we were excellent, some of the best football we've played this season. The other night it was difficult. Don't care who you play against. If you're playing against the team who sit with 4 or 5 defenders on the edge of their box and they're happy to do so, it is difficult to break teams down. But I don't think that'll be the case this evening. As I say, the onus is on them, the home side, full of confidence. They'll come out, play with a bit of swagger, try and dominate the ball. And when we win it, we've got to make it count. Play with a bit of purpose, move the ball quick, and hopefully we get a few opportunities. Thanks, Danny. We're going to go through a short break now. You can still get your matchday streaming passes around the world, of course, here. You can get them from SAFC.com. Tell us where you're watching around the world as well. And you use the hashtag AskDanny on social media. Tell us where you're watching around the world, but also have your say on tonight's fixture as well. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to the Sports Bar here at the Stadium of Light. The lads, of course, are down at Bramall Lane for a 8 p.m. kick-off. Sheffield United versus Sunderland. I'm, of course, here with Danny Collins, as I always am. But we're joined by some locals as well here in the Sports Bar this evening, enjoying some pies and pints. And why not? It's Friday night.
Why not, indeed? The Christmas trees are up as well.
The Christmas trees are up as well.
Festive in the Queen's Bar, yeah. So why not?
Let's give everyone the team news then. If you are just joining us around the world, of course, we're broadcasting around the world here on SAFC Live. That's the live scenes there from Bramall Lane. Sunderland unchanged. Regis has gone for the same 11 and same bench.
He has, yeah. And I was thinking yesterday, possibly will he look to change the formation? Obviously, there's chat about us at the back and maybe one or two changes. Maybe Adji coming in for balance. And I was thinking possibly a 3-5-2 and going two strikers, top end of the pitch, just changing it up and seeing if we can get going again in terms of the goals. You know, only 3 in the last five games. But no, he's gone with that. His favourite formation. Good to see Tommy getting another run out. Yeah, I think he had a couple of moments in the game on Tuesday night. But yeah, Du's confidence a world of good. It's an opportunity for him, as we said, with Romain being out of the side for a bit. So yeah, in his favoured position as well. And it's a good test for him. You know, we'll look at Sheffield United in a minute. Interesting, they've made a couple of changes in the full-back areas. Gilchrist coming in. So yeah, for Tommy Watson again and Patrick, end product is the key this evening.
Yes, let's have a look at Sheffield United for the first time. They come into this having winning 5 of their last 6 games. Quite a different form book to ours in that respect, Danny. And you've got some particularly good stats around them as well, haven't you?
Well, yeah, speak for themselves really. Second in terms of best defence at the minute. Solid, tight unit, as we mentioned there. Only Queen's Park Rangers put the ball in the back of the net from an opposition point of view at Bramall Lane so far, and that was back in the 17th of August, a 2-2 draw. So yeah, they'll go out there, as I said, full of confidence. The keeper there, Cooper, coming in this season as well. Gilchrist on loan from Chelsea. Sutar, didn't quite happen for him at Leicester, but he's in there, so he's a good quality player at this level. Hamer, as we know, from Coventry, and O'Hare as well. So they've recruited, they brought some quality in there. Young lads, Heidi Peck, middle of the park as well, and Tyrese Campbell, I think he's got 5 in his last 6 games, top end of the pitch, so we've got to keep an eye on him as well.
Yeah, and Raksakier as well on loan from Palace is highly rated
on that right-hand
as
side
well.
as well.
They've had to change the squad as well quite a lot, not just because they came down from the Premier League, but they conceded 104 goals in the Premier League, and they only managed to get 16 points as well, so it needed a bit of a restart, didn't it?
Does. And it shows the gulf between the Premier League and obviously, well, certainly the bottom end and the top end of the Championship. Yeah. They've obviously come back down, and they've got on with it really, haven't they? Where you'd expect them to be really. It doesn't always happen. Look at ourselves when we came down from the Premier League a few years back. 2 relegations.
Couldn't have gone any worse.
Exactly. So it does happen. But no, the usual suspects are up there. Leeds are up there. Burnley. Burnley 6 goals conceded, best defence in the league as well. But we're right amongst it. And not many people would have expected us, myself included, after the way last season finished off. We were 16th, 17th come the end of the season. I thought 10th, 12th this year. Still a long way to go, of course. We're only just over a third through the season, but we're in a great place and we're there on merit. We've earned the right to be there. And we're mixing it, and on our day we're more than capable of beating anyone. Yeah,
and because we're playing tonight, we could send a message that way as well by being up and amongst it before the ball is even kicked at the weekend as well. Psychologically, that's got to be good for the lads. But it's been another hard week, hasn't it? Another 3-game week. They keep coming thick and fast. We haven't got a midweek and next week though, have we?
No, and it almost seems a 3-game block, then international break, 3 games. So it's never just a Saturday when they come back as well. So it's obviously that they're getting 2 weeks off, and then it's 3 games, and especially this week, where we've gone Saturday, Tuesday, and then Friday, so it's a shortened week as well. And it's a long weekend. I've played there on a Friday night. It's decent. You want to get the first game underway. You're under the lights, but if you don't win, it becomes a long old weekend as well. So yeah, obviously for the travelling fans down there, it's a good ground. Bramall Lane, played there a few times. But if you come away with 3 points this evening, as you say there, does send a bit of a message out to the likes of Leeds and Burnley, as if to say, do you know what, Sunderland, they're not going away.
I looked at their last game as well. It was a 3-0 win against Oxford United. They won at a canter, as we did against Oxford, we have to say as well. But they've got some pretty good stats when it comes to goals conceded at home. They've gone 7 home games without conceding. The last team to do that were Chelsea, who went 9 games in 2010 in the Premier League, obviously. And that run was stopped by Sunderland. Could happen.
There we go, yeah. A couple of London buses will come along again, don't we? So, no, it'll be good there to go there. And I think the interesting one as well, neither ourselves or Sheffield United have conceded a goal in the first 15 minutes.
I love that stat. You told me that earlier,
so it shows we're doing something right. Generally, I feel like we have started games quite well this season. It's been second halves in general where I think we've stepped off teams a little bit. Prime example was Coventry and Millwall for me in recent weeks, and you could say it caught up with us in the second half because sometimes you lose that momentum, especially the Coventry game where, as I said there, we were fantastic for 30-35 minutes, 2-0 up there, half-time came at the wrong time for us that day. We came out and we almost sat off Coventry, and I think Regis has addressed that at the weekend, on Tuesday. I thought it was the best we've played in terms of 90 minutes recently where we were on the front foot, and you could see Chris Rigg and Isidore trying to drag the lads up behind them, to come and press, and time again, West Brom, they had the ball in midfield or the top end of the pitch, and they ended up going back to their keeper. So we had a bit more energy and we were pressing, we weren't sat off, defending the edge of our own box in the second half. But unfortunately, it counted for nothing. We didn't go on to get that winner. But that's what Regis will be needing a little bit. It's hard to do it for 90 minutes, don't get me wrong. You expect the opposition to have a spell in the game at some stage. But you can't go from almost dominating for 35, 40 minutes of the half and then just sitting back for 45 minutes and trying to coast through the game. Oxford, we done it, but we were 2-0 up there and we won in second gear. Coventry caught up with us, and Millwall, obviously it's almost the last kick of the game where they've got the equaliser. But
we really had a stretched squad as well, that fixture.
Of course we did, But I just felt they probably deserved a point from the game. Just the fact second half, they had a lot of ball in our half, in our box as well. So, but the lads aren't daft. They'll be there this evening. They know that Sheffield United are going to have a lot of the ball. They're going to create opportunities. So we're going to have to defend as well as we have done. Chris Meppen.
We've got great clean sheet record this season, haven't we?
Well, they've got 11. I think they're joint top, aren't they, with Burnley? And then we're tucked in there at third on 10 clean sheets as well. So we're doing something right at that end of the pitch. Only 2-3 games ago as well, we were sat top scorers as well. So I think we're 4th or 5th at this moment in time. So we're doing things right at both ends of the pitch. It's just when you look at 3-0-0s in the last 5 games, it's almost like what could have been. And we've looked at it and we feel like we let 2 points go against Coventry, 2 points go against Millwall. So there's 4 points. What we should be better off. But other teams are going to do that throughout the course of the season. Fans will be sat at every other club saying we let points slip there. It's just balanced itself out over the season.
The last time we played at Bramall Lane, Lyndon Gooch scored a worldie, which was kind of forgotten about because we were beaten in the end. And Alex Neil was the manager. Because he was in before Tony Mowbray came in that season.
Yeah, it was, What did it finish?
It finished 2-1 on that occasion, and as did the home game as well that season.
Yeah. So, we owe them one then, don't we? So
Let's have a look at the Sunderland team then, if you are just joining us around the world, and of course here in the sports bar this evening, Quinn's Sports Bar at the Stadium of Light. Unchanged, Danny. Are you surprised that maybe the formation at the back, the personnel, obviously it would be so unfair to drop any of those players for the balance of Elise on the left-hand side to put him, because Luke would be the obvious one to drop out, but he's been so great this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, surprised me even the other night when I seen that and I thought, well, Luke's going to go to left back because Trey's, they're both naturally right-footed, but Luke's left foot is better than Trey's, so I'm thinking Luke will play left side to give you a bit more balance. So I'm still not sure what the thought process was. That I'm not sure if anybody's asked Regis why he's gone with Trey there and obviously Luke on the opposite side. But then, as you say, then Adji came on, didn't he? And then obviously Trey went over to that right hand side and Luke came off. So we've got good options at the back really at this moment in time as well. Obviously we've got 1 or 2 to come back in as well. But it's just as you're saying there, you're looking at the top end of the pitch and we've addressed it in terms of the goals. You've got Isidore, I like the look of him. He's got 5 goals.
Yeah.
Need to get him in the game a little bit more in the box. Obviously Connolly's come in, got his first goal at Millwall as well. Decent strike. Mayenda had a pretty good start. Then he obviously picked up his injury, so he'll be itching to get back out there. So we have got good options. But for me, you're looking at out wide. Tommy, this is his 4th start now, and obviously Patrick on the opposite side. It's all about them tonight on those turnovers, getting at the 2 fullbacks which they changed this evening, and having a bit more end product for us.
And this could be a bit of a run for Tommy with Romain being out. I saw Romain Mundell last night at the Foundation Gala. He's expected to be out another few weeks yet. So there's lots of games there for Tommy Watson if he impresses. Yeah,
and it's good that Regis has shown faith in him as well, because obviously the results in the last couple where it hasn't quite gone to plan, and it's always, I find it's sometimes easy for a manager, easy option, take the young lad back out, don't put too much pressure on him. But I'm thinking from a player's point of view, Tommy won't want to come out because, as you say there, he knows it's a big opportunity for him at this moment in time. Romain being out for, is it several weeks he's going to be out for? So he's getting a run in the team. He had a taster, obviously, that was his first start at home the other night. As I said there, I think he had a couple of good moments in the first half. He had a few strikes, didn't he, from distance, cannon into the defenders. But get him on the ball. Can't shirk it, just keep giving him the ball. And credit to West Brom the other night. I thought Fellows helped out Mason Holgate really well, getting back in, doubling up. And you ask any winger, it's difficult when, Patrick on the opposite side as well. Yeah. It becomes difficult for him when there's 2 or 3 defenders getting out there and midfielders helping out for the space that they need to work. And they want to be one-on-one, sending the full-back back into the 18-yard box.
I think we've got time for a quick look at Sheffield United again. They come into this game in decent form indeed, winning 5 of their last 6. In fact, their last defeat was back on 23rd of October against Middlesbrough. That was an away match for them on that occasion. And
they had back-to-back defeats, didn't they? There, and I thought they had a bit of a spell, but as you say, they've certainly come through that, haven't they? They're flying again, and they've had the 2 points deducted as well, what we haven't mentioned. So
yes,
but they've got on with it, and as I say there, they've got quality in there. They've got some options off the bench as well. Tom Davis sat there as well, good experience at Everton in the Premier League. But just out on the pitch, Tyrese Campbell will be full of confidence. As I said there, he's got 5 goals. I think it's in his last 6 games. But when you got Dan Ballard and Mepham, they'll be full of confidence themselves, because I think, without putting a kiss of death on them, any striker they come up against in the league, they're going to be confident. We've seen that. Chris Mepham's come in, been outstanding. He's played alongside Luke, who was outstanding there with him. Ballard's come in the last few games as well. He's enjoyed it, doesn't shirk a challenge, does he? Loves the physical side of the game. So that's going to be a good battle at the top end of the pitch tonight.
Gustavo Hamer and Callum O'Hare, players we saw really for Coventry City, didn't we? Yeah. In that side with Gyökeres as well. They were good players and probably rightfully got their move to the Premier League. Obviously it didn't work out. They come straight back down, of course, as well. But Gustavo Hamer is considered one of the best players in the division, isn't he? Yeah, a technical player, isn't he, really? He's not got blistering pace, but he's got good feet. He can finish, and same with O'Hare, really, just in that pocket in behind. He's a nuisance, get him on the ball. He can jink, he can pick a pass. So Dan Neil's key tonight as well. He's got to be in and around him. Communication from the 2 centre-backs behind him, letting Dan know when to screen him. And as I say there, if they get on the ball and they start pulling the strings, they're going to cause us issues. Okay, Danny, thanks for now. We'll go to another ad break, and then we'll get ourselves into our commentary positions. The people behind us maybe can go and charge their glasses, or maybe get a pie or something like that. You're going to get a pie at half time. I've reserved you one. I might sample one, yeah. Okay then. We'll be back very soon here on SAFC Live for full commentary. If you want to join us for the full commentary, then get your matchday streaming passes right now at safc.com. We would like to say goodbye to all of you watching the free pre-game program on our YouTube channel.